Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be discussing the fallout of the recent Call of Duty 2020 news, and talking about the impact that this entire situation is going to have on the future of the franchise. Over the course of the past couple of days, I've seen a lot of opinions being thrown around, definitely a lot of hot takes, and the sad truth is we have absolutely no idea what's happening on the inside over at Activision, over at Sledgehammer, and Raven Software, and of course Treyarch, who are now heading the COD 2020 project. It's been a few days since the news broke that Call of Duty 2020 has essentially been scrapped, and that Treyarch once again is now in charge, but not a whole lot of new details have really come out. This is probably because Activision is in lockdown mode, trying to make sure no other information gets out, but it's almost too late for that, right? Because the entire community knows most of what we need to know. We do know that Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software were working together on a Cold War-themed Call of Duty game. We know that a lot of Sledgehammer staff ended up leaving the studio to go follow Michael Condrey over to 2K Games to work at his new studio. We also know that the remnants of Sledgehammer Games have been really butting heads with Raven Software, so much so that they just cannot get along apparently, and that Call of Duty 2020, the game they were working on together, was described as a complete mess because the studios for some reason just could not get along. And we also know that Activision basically scrapped that entire game and put Treyarch in charge because they need to release a new game in the year 2020. I've seen some people saying that this is actually an incredibly good thing. They're happy that all three devs are now going to be working on the same game, and they're also happy that the game is going to have a shorter dev cycle like we had back in the day, back in the heyday of the Call of Duty franchise. But I'm not so sure that this is really going to be a good thing. Like, here's my full opinion on this. I'm worried about Call of Duty 2020. Heck, I'm worried about Modern Warfare 4, and I'm also worried about Black Ops 4 because this news affects virtually everything that we have currently and everything that we're going to see in the future. Remember that because Treyarch is now suddenly in charge of Call of Duty 2020, this means that they have virtually half the time to make their new game. Going off of the old 3-year development cycle, Treyarch was set to release their next game in the year 2021, but now they're being pushed forward a year, and on top of that, rumor has it that the Cold War themed game that Sledgehammer and Raven were working on, apparently most of that is going to be thrown into the Black Ops 5 single player campaign. So basically, Treyarch has to revamp everything that they've been working on so far up until this point to match what Sledgehammer and Raven have been working on, right? Does that make sense? Like, there's virtually no chance that the game that Treyarch has been working on so far was going to be set in the Cold War. There's no chance of that because Sledgehammer and Raven were working on a Cold War themed game, and there's no way they were going to release two straight Cold War themed games. So basically, Treyarch was working on something, we have no freaking idea, and now they have to revamp whatever that was to fit what Sledgehammer and Raven were working on, which has a Cold War themed setting. So basically, they're scrambling just to catch up with everything that Sledgehammer and Raven have been working on. On top of that, this is going to affect Black Ops 4 because now suddenly they're scrambling to catch up with COD 2020. How are they supposed to support Black Ops 4 even further when they're now pushed even harder to create their new game? Like, it was hard enough on a 3-year development cycle to spend the first year of that cycle supporting your old game. Well, now they have even less time to support their old game and to make their new game. So I imagine the rest of the Black Ops 4 life cycle is going to be even worse. Like, if you thought that content drought was bad before, I imagine it's going to be even worse going forward. And I fear that the same problem is going to bleed over into Modern Warfare 4. If we look at the position that Infinity Ward is in, they initially thought that they would be releasing their next game after Modern Warfare 4 in the year 2022, which is basically an eternity from now, right? Because Sledgehammer and Raven have been moved to side studios like they were back in the day, Infinity Ward's next game is now being pushed forward into the year 2021, which means they have even less time to create their game than what they initially anticipated. This means means that once Modern Warfare 4 is released, they need to hit the ground running to create their next game, which means that Modern Warfare 4's post-launch support is likely going to suffer severely. Either that, or they're going to take a page out of Sledgehammer's book in Call of Duty World War II and cut a bunch of content from the base game and re-release it to us as DLC to make up the difference. But either way, I think that the content that we're going to see in Modern Warfare 4 is going to suffer as a result of this news involving Sledgehammer and Raven and, of course, Treyarch. Now, it is worth mentioning, once again, that I have seen some people suggesting that this is going to be a good thing, right? They're talking about how going back to the old 2-year dev cycle is going to be better for the franchise because the devs are going to have to focus more, the games are going to be more in line, and things are going to be better. But I really do have a hard time seeing that becoming the case, right? Because it's no secret that Call of Duty games, as of recently, have been releasing in either a super buggy or a super incomplete state, right? I mean, I can speak for Black Ops 4, I can speak for Call of Duty World War II, I can't speak for Infinite Warfare. You guys will have to let me know about that down there in the comments. I did not play that game, but I can speak for Modern Warfare Remastered. Who remembers the terrible servers that MWR had? Basically, every Call of Duty game that has come out recently has released in a very buggy or a very incomplete state, and all of those games have had the benefit of a 3-year development cycle, and now they're taking that 3-year cycle and taking it down by 1/3, and people are thinking that's going to be good for the franchise. I just really don't see that really being the case. I mean, people point to games like Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops 2 or my personal favorite game, the original Black Ops, as examples of great games that were made on that 2-year dev cycle, but remember that those games were from a different era, right? Those games were just part of a different time. Nowadays, games need to be bigger, they need to be more expansive, and oftentimes they need to be marketed as a games as service, which means it's going to get a bunch of updates and post-launch content and DLC and things like that. And way back when, back in the Call of Duty heyday, we didn't have any of that. We just got the base game, we got 4 map packs that came as part of a season pass, and that was pretty much it, right? There were no events, there was no real post-launch content of any kind, aside from maybe a couple of personalization packs here or there, and we didn't really get that many updates outside of the occasional bug fixes or balance updates. Basically, back then, we got what we got at launch, and that was pretty much it outside of the DLC packs. Now, it could be argued that the same is pretty much true here with Black Ops 4, but I think the point still stands. Fans nowadays expect a lot more from their games, both at launch and post-launch, especially post-launch, and I'm not entirely sure that Infinity Ward and Treyarch are going to be able to deliver on that with a 2-year dev cycle. If they do deliver on that, I think they're going to do what they've done recently and just cut more and more and more from the base game and repackage it to us and spoon-feed it to us as DLC, which is not what we want to see. If anything, we just want a complete game at launch with some extra stuff on top of that, but so far, they have not been able to deliver that to us on a 3-year dev cycle, so I'm pretty concerned about what they're going to be doing on a 2-year dev cycle. Now, obviously, it's good that Sledgehammer and Raven Software are not being completely kicked to the side. They're going to be helping out with Call of Duty 2020 and probably other games as well, but if you really think about it, that's something that has been happening for years. If you guys don't know, every Call of Duty game is a giant group project. Black Ops 4 was not only made by Treyarch. I mean, Raven Software and Phoenix helped out with Black Ops 4. Treyarch helped out with Call of Duty World War II. Virtually every studio helped out with Modern Warfare 3. This kind of stuff happens all the time. So when I see these people saying that because Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software are going to be helping Treyarch with COD 2020, that suddenly the game is going to be perfect, it's going to be super successful, I'm not so sure I buy into that, because Sledgehammer and Raven were tasked initially to work together on the project, and the project basically fell apart, which is why Treyarch is being pulled in the first place. So yeah, I have to wonder exactly how well all 3 of these studios are going to be working together. But man, this is definitely an interesting and almost scary time for the Call of Duty franchise. I feel like we're reaching a breaking point here. I feel as though the series is either going to flourish as a result of this new 2-year dev cycle direction, or the series is going to crumble under the pressure of bad release after bad release after bad release, up until the point where people get so disenfranchised with Call of Duty that eventually just people stop playing. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I would be all for them taking a year off of releasing new Call of Duty games. Let the developers breathe, let them regain their creative creative energies and don't release a game until it's good and ready with launch day content as well as post-launch content. That's what they should be doing. But of course, Activision is a business at the end of the day, so they're always going to be chasing the bottom line. And even though people talk about COD is dying or COD's this or COD's that, it's still the best-selling game every single year, and if it's not the best-selling game, it's the number 2 best-selling game. So COD is still very popular, so chances are they're never going to take a year off, but still, eventually, I feel like something's gotta give, and this news involving Treyarch and Activision and Raven and all these other studios, it's freaking incredible. It's mind-blowing. I can't believe this is actually happening, and I cannot wait to learn more. Right now, what we know is what I've discussed here in this video, and as always, I will keep you guys posted with more details as they become available. I just think it's crazy that Black Ops 5 has essentially been confirmed before we've seen really anything from Infinity Ward involving Modern Warfare 4. Of course, the reveal for that game should be coming out soon, as well as details about Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. And again, I'll keep you guys posted as we learn more, but man, what an interesting time to be a Call of Duty fan. What a crazy year for the Call of Duty franchise. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you guys here today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop me a rating and leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Thank you guys all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.